And welcome to the Armadale Devils preview show. Myself, Graham Muncie, joined by Mike Hunter, as we look ahead to the penultimate home match for the Devils this year, Mike, and the second attempt at a visit from the Belle Vue Colts. We'll hear from Devils number one, Lee Complin. And as always, Mike, you pulled a cracker for us this week. We're going all the way back to 1969 and Belle Vue versus a Leningrad visiting team. So a great bit of speed with history coming up in that one. Mike, Friday night, see, as we said, the penultimate match for what's been a fairly disappointing season for the Devils, but still something to ride for both teams. Of course, Belle Vue, it's their last regular season match. They know we think a point does it. We've not double-checked the rules and if it goes to match points, but we assume it does. So we think a point will do it, but certainly a draw or better will guarantee Belle Vue in the playoffs. Where for the Devils, there's still that wooden spoon to be avoided. There's, it's two home matches, one away match to Plymouth, who are only 1 point ahead. So, 6 points taken from the next two Fridays at home would guarantee they finish bottom. And I guess that's what everyone in the Devils camp will be striving for.
I think so. It's not a major aim, is it? But I think the heat leaders that the Devils have got, I'm disappointed they haven't had slightly better results. I feel that Lee Complin ought to be about the best rider in the league, really. Of course, he's been out for a long time, but and he's gradually improving, and he certainly did well in the Riders' Championship. So he's a strong number one, I feel, and Danny Phillips and Tom Woolley are quite useful and are good gators. Tom did well as well in the Riders' Championship. So,
and of course, was part of
I was expecting a little bit better than what we've had over the season from them. But Belle Vue are an interesting team that are going to be worth watching. I don't think we've seen much of Jake Mulford, have we? And he's quite an interesting performer, and they've got lots of young riders on the way up. So let's see how they measure up against some of the Devils.
But that's it, and I think you're right, Mike. Obviously, this is what I touched on at the start there. It was called off a few weeks back, and Jake Mulford was one I think I said in the build up to that one. I was really looking forward to seeing him, and he pushed Leon Flint all the way into the under-19 championships. He was in Kings Lynn, was in their number 8 at the start of the season, I think, in the Premiership, and has had offers from the Championship. I know that or I've heard that from various clubs, but with other commitments he has with grass track, long track, these kind of things at the weekend that he decided he didn't want that full sort of speedway spot this year. So he's one I'm looking forward to. And of course, you look at the Belle Vue team, and as a lot of teams that have come to Armadale this year, the strength all the way down in comparison to the Devils team looks quite frightening. You mentioned Nathan Ablett slots in at second string, and he was fantastic for the Pool Pirates in the Championship. They paid 5 from 3 rides and deserved every one of them. There wasn't a single one of them that was because of a fall or an engine failure or anything. And of course, at the bottom end, a man that we all thought would be lining up in a Devils race bid this year, Archie Freeman. So he certainly knows his way around Armadale very well. So it's another one, Mike. You kind of go through the programme heat by heat, and you wonder where the weaknesses are.
That's right. There's certainly not going to be any easy points for the home men, and they'll have to ride perhaps above themselves to pick up many. It's an interesting team. Yeah, Archie Freeman, yeah. We would have liked to see him on our side, but there we are. That was his choice. Belle Vue are well placed to pick up youngsters from around the country, whereas up here we're not particularly well placed for attracting any other than our youngsters that might come through the academy in a few years' time.
Yep, but of course, job to do for the Devils, and you touched on it a little bit there, Mike. I think it's probably a case of the season ending too soon. I mean, this is probably the best and the most settled that the Devils lineup's been all season. You touched on Lee Complin was 4th in the individual championship, and that was on the back of a 15-point score for Plymouth at Pool in the playoffs. Tom Wheely's been solid. Danny Phillips been solid. I sometimes feel maybe in comparison to other National League team that comes where the Devils tend to let down, there's just a lack of doubling up. We see teams that come with 3 or 4 riders that are riding 2, 3, 4 times a week.
Yeah.
Outside the league Complin now, second halves and Northern Junior leagues are probably all our guys are getting, and that must affect them when you're up against guys that are riding, maybe not so much Belle Vue's team when you look down it, but when Leicester come a week on Friday and you've got the likes of the Thompson boys racing at 3 levels at times, and that must just make them so much sharper and leaves the Devils playing catch up before our wheels turn.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's tough, but the entertaining thing will be seeing them trying to achieve as much as they possibly can, really.
Yeah, that's it. And you touched on entertainment there, Mike. If there's one man you can always guarantee entertainment from, that's the Devils' #1 league comp one, and I caught up with him earlier in the week.
So it's back to Devils duty this week. You've one man that's been managing to keep reasonably busy with having Plymouth and various guest bookings and stuff as well. But I'm looking forward to getting back to Armadale and trying to maintain that little run the Devils have sort of put themselves on.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's been cancelled a couple of times and the fixture been moved. Obviously, you get your centre all red up to be going up there. I set off up there and it got cancelled, didn't it, with weather that time. So, yeah, it'd be good to get back on track, really.
Yeah, and of course, it's all about pride the rest of the season for the Devils, but Belle Vue, I think I'm right in saying they need a point to confirm themselves in the playoffs. So, you're going to have an opposition that's up for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be good for us to not give them that point, you know what I mean, and carry on the little run that we've been getting. So I hope we'll all get together and just get them. Every point counts, and it's every point will be vital.
Yeah, and I spoke to a little while ago, just after he signed for the Devils, and he kind of said it's you're still looking at Championship. That's now come in the Plymouth, and looking at the form. I think it was at 15 last week for Plymouth, 4th in the National League individual on Sunday there. So is this just going to be one of those seasons that just ends too soon? You kind of wishing this was the start of the season now, and you could you had 100 fixtures ahead of you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously starting off at Newcastle and obviously closing down, it kind of took a turn for the worst, and obviously I came with yourselves and then managed to get on Plymouth and stuff. But like I say, it's finished too soon. And Scunthorpe, I haven't been there for about 12 years. That's the first time I've been there in 12 years, and it was one of those tracks where the last time I rode there, Nick Morris took me off and I snapped my collarbone. That's the last time I rode there. That was 12 and a half years ago, I think. So to get back on track there and do all right, I mean, there were good riders there. I mean, people were doing some surprise wins and stuff like that. So it wasn't all, clear cut. Anyone could have had it. So it just obviously, it was a shame it didn't go to quarterfinals and finals, stuff like that. Shame it were all to do with points, which I think were a bit odd.
Yeah.
But I suppose that's just how it is.
Yeah, and then, looking back at the Devils, it's kind of, I mentioned up the little run, they picked up the first home win, the last meeting, and second, what was it, in the pairs, yourself, as you say, just one shy of the podium. So, there's a bit of momentum there. There's still 2 home matches, two back-to-back matches. So it'll be a case of looking to finish the season with 2 home wins and just maintain that bit of pride. And then who knows what will happen in the future, obviously, with the entire club, but finish on a high.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the lads did well when we were down at Kent as well. Just a couple of mechanical issues cost us getting a point ourselves. And I think it's just been these little demons that have just been propping up and just making us not get the points. And we're there. We just obviously just hadn't had the run we needed. But like you say, finish on strong, which would be grand.
Yeah. And have you enjoyed it? I mean, I know obviously you look back sort of 10 years ago when you sort of gave it up in the levels you were at then. It's maybe not the same level now, but stepping down into the National League when something you've actually enjoyed, and that may be a difference of working with the younger lads or having the #1 race jacket back on your back again. Has that all been a boost for you?
To be fair, I don't look at it as if it's a different league. End of the day, every rider's out there wanting to win, and there's some good riders in that league, and the people who are trying to progress, they want to win. Someone like me, they'll think, I want to win him, it'll boost their confidence. So to be fair, I don't look at it like that. So it's just exactly the same league and just different riders. But no, I think it's, I don't know how to explain it really. It's one of those where I've kind of got off a lot quicker than I thought I would do with the engines changing, the exhaust and things. But no, I think I'm happy how I've gone. And like I say, it's just a shame it's finishing early because I'm just kind of finding my feet now. So hopefully I'll take it into next year. And obviously, I won't say that I won't be in the same league next year because I don't see why not, because it's all about riding, isn't it?
Yeah, and that was actually going to be my follow-up question. Obviously, you came back this year after the best part of a decade out. The love's still there, and League Comp 1 will be back at tapes in 2023.
Yeah, I'm already wanting to get back, and obviously I've had a couple of people mention to me that they want to talk to me when they're able to. So hopefully, I'll get a team place. If not, I'll just be waiting on sidelines, waiting for someone to want me.
we compliment there, Mike, saying, and probably agree that he's one that wishes the season would never end, and we know he's that kind of rider. You can ask Louis to show up anywhere at any time, and he'll find a van and he'll find a bike, and he'll come and give it his all. But really showing a bit of form, and of course, if you'd asked him, maybe this wasn't where he thought he would find himself in the National League, somebody that's won, loads of rides in the Elite League as it was at the time, and he'll recall as his favourite ever memory when I spoke to him this season was winning the Gary Stead benefit meeting from the back at Sheffield, passing 2 or 3 Grand Prix riders for fun. And but he's one that the Devils really need to lead from the front. It's heat wins that have been the problem from the heat leaders, and that needs to change and start from your number one.
He's a fantastic talent. Goodness knows how good he might have been. Way back, Peter Carr recommended him or told me about him anyway, and reckoned he was going to be the next big thing, the Joe Screen type rider. And I think he could have been if he'd kept his career continuous, and also if he was a better gaiter. I noticed recently he scored 15 in the championship and followed it up, I think, the next day with 6 in the National League. And that's all dependent on gating, I think, really. If Lee Complin gets in front, there's nobody in either of the lower 2 leagues that could possibly pass him.
Yep, and we'll be looking for some of that on Friday. Elsewhere, Mike, you look down the Devils team, and that there's names we know, the likes of Willie and Phillips in their second year. But for me, maybe the one that you would like to see progress and have a strong end to the season's Elliot Kelly. He came in midway through. He'd admitted he'd fallen out of love. I mean, he was a league winner last year with Malden Hall. He said he'd kind of fallen out of love with Speedway, but seems to have been enjoying himself in the Devils camp. Of course, was part of that pairs team, and from talking to Tom Woolley after that, I not just spoke to Elliot, but talking to Tom Woolley, he said Elliot was absolutely buzzing with that, and he was made up, and the kind of guy you can see that the more time he's spent on the bike, the better he's got as the season's progressed.
Yeah, well, I watched him very, very carefully when the Devils were down at Leicester, and his first 3 rides, I think he put tremendous effort in, but he got no luck whatsoever. But because he kept trying all the time, he won his last race. So he's capable of that. He's quite a decent young rider, and if he sticks to it, he could get somewhere.
Yep, and that's what we're hoping for starting Friday. Of course, as we mentioned, 7:30 is your tapes up. It's the Armadale Devils versus the Belle Vue Colts. Tickets are available now on both the Edinburgh Monarchs and Armadale Devils websites, which is edinburghmonarchs.co.uk and armadeledevils.co.uk. And myself and Mike will be in the commentary box with a live stream of the event as well. Streams available from both those websites also. Click on the EMTV link on there for that. Mike, we're into that stage now. Of course, nobody knows the future of the club. That's still being discussed and rumbling on in the background. So while I would say across the piece that the National League maybe hasn't been supported as well as the club would have liked, I think that's maybe fair to say. The numbers maybe aren't there compared to a Monarchs match. Who knows what's happening? There might only be 3 times left, so we'll be there. We're always there. But my call to anyone who maybe hasn't tested the Devils over the last year or two would be get yourself along. It's some of the most enjoyable meetings I've seen in the last couple of years since the Devils came back have been involving the younger lads, and with maybe only 3 matches left at Armadale, there's no excuse not to be there on Friday night. And before we finish up, Friday night obviously is what we're all waiting on now. We won't go to blast the past. 1969, Mike, can you remember the date from 1969?
No.
No. You just put it in the chat earlier.
We didn't have many visits from Belle Vue to Armadale, so I thought here's a really interesting wee bit. There's some commentary on it, at least to identify the riders, by the late Charles McKendrick, who took the film and took film at a lot of interesting tracks. So just a wee bit of interest for older fans, and we'll see if any Belle Vue people are watching. They might get quite interested by this one.
Yeah, Belle Vue versus a team from Leningrad, 1969. That's now.
Our next meeting is indeed an international one, and it's between Belle Vue Aces and Neva of Leningrad, the Russian team, Neva Leningrad. And in Heat 1, it's Ivan Major, the world champion, in red, Tommy Roper in blue, Valdemar Smirnov in white, Valdemir Kanakov in yellow and black. And near invincible at his own high road, it's Ivan Major out in the lead. Major leading Valdemar Smirnov. Valdemar Smirnov chasing Ivan Major, and in third place it's Tommy Roper. One lap to go. Major leading Valdemar Smirnov. Tommy Roper in third place, and it's a 4-2 to the Belle Vue Aces.
Well, there we have it, Mike. What any promoter in the country wouldn't give to see stands looking like that, action like that. And I know, speaking to some of the older fans, like my dad, he remembers a visiting team from either Russia or Yugoslavia. I told Meadowbank, and I think it was one of the famous nights where whatever crowd was publicised, there was 2 for every 1 person that was named that was in the crowd. They said he couldn't move to fill his programme in, but interesting to see that action from back then. For this week, Friday night, 7:30, it's Belle Vue Colts are visiting Armadale. We hope to see you all there. Until myself and Dave are back with the Friday Focus, thanks very much as always, and goodbye.